and the FBI can't interview her and Judge Kavanaugh and then repeat back what they say. You can't determine credibility that way. So I hope that she comes. I hope that she will testify. I think she'll be treated fairly. I would hope that she would, and I think Judge Kavanaugh should also be given the opportunity to respond to.
You mentioned the FBI investigation call, and that really is what Democrats are saying the most. Here is Senator Doug Jones and also Sheldon Whitehouse.
Already regretting this.
I prosecuted 38-year-old cases, so they're pretty good about locating witnesses and finding people. That's their job. They're a hell of a lot better at it than the Senate majority or minority staff. That's what the FBI does. That's what they're trained to do.
Even if they were to ram this guy through, as soon as Democrats get gavels, we're going to want to get to the bottom of this.
If the Democrats win back the House and or the Senate, Democrats will investigate what happened.
I am confident of that, and I think we'll also be investigating why the FBI stood down its background investigation when this came up.
All right, there's two. I want one more. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand just a few moments ago, earlier this afternoon.
Judge Kavanaugh has not asked to have the FBI review these claims. Is that the reaction of an innocent person? It is not.
Can you get reaction to all of those?
Wow. When I walked into the studio tonight, there was a presumption of innocence, and you did not have to prove your innocence. So I'm a little surprised at what the senator from New York said. Brett, I'll tell you this. I think that Dr. Ford met with Democrat legislators before the FBI investigated it. I know that she talked to the Washington Post before the FBI investigated it. The FBI does not have jurisdiction over state sex assault claims. If they want to locate witnesses, if there are witnesses that know whether or not this happened, I'm all for it, and I'm all for them being compelled to come testify. But the FBI does not have jurisdiction over a state sex assault claim, and Judge Kavanaugh does not have the burden of proving his innocence. He has said he was not present. The last time I checked, the government has the burden of proof in a criminal case. Now, if someone would argue, well, this isn't criminal, you know, Brett, he was vetted for the second highest court in the land 15 years ago. These are incredibly serious allegations. If they make you unfit for the highest court in the land, would they also not make you unfit for the second highest court in the land?
Sounds like it's going to continue even if he gets through, according to Sheldon Whitehouse. I want to turn topics. You know, the Senate Judiciary Committee is obviously investigating all that, and they say they're on top of the Kavanaugh investigation, even though Democrats are not taking part. Now to the topic of the declassification. Here's the former CIA director on this order by the president to declassify these documents and texts.
I think they should continue to push. If Mr. Trump and the White House does not relent, well, then I think they have some decisions to make, whether or not they're going to just not follow that direction and be fired, or to resign. They have an obligation, since they took an oath of office to the Constitution of the United States, not to Mr. Trump, to uphold their responsibilities.
So he's essentially saying to intelligence officials, don't do it.
I've read every document that is under consideration. Brett, I don't think the release of this information is going to change anyone's mind. It's certainly not going to change John Brennan's mind, because remember, he wanted Donald Trump put on the dustbin of history. He's accused him of treasonous conduct. John Brennan is as responsible for the American public being divided on this issue as anyone I can possibly think of. So I honestly, no disrespect intended to him, could really give a damn less what John Brennan thinks the president or the intelligence agency should do. He's part of the reason that we are in this historic conundrum. I've read it. Other than one document related to George Papadopoulos, I don't think people are going to be that interested in it. And I don't think any minds are going to be changed. I think the bias of Peter Strzok has resulted in us having a hung jury, frankly, no matter what comes out.
And for all the talk about concern on sources and methods, you're one of the only people who's read through the unredacted papers. What about that?
I would tell Chris and Dan Coates and everyone else, by the way, all of whom were Trump appointees, that if you are concerned about sources and methods, if you're concerned about relationships with friendly foreign governments, then you need to go sit down with the president and say, look, there's a way to get this information out, but safeguard sources and methods. I would think the president would be open to that. In fact, I know he would. So if Chris is concerned, if Dan Coates is concerned, they have unfettered access to the president, and they can go make the case. I've read it. Some of it's embarrassing for the Department of Justice. Some of it's embarrassing for the FBI. Embarrassment is not a reason to classify something. So a lot of it should be embarrassing to John Brennan. And maybe therein lies why he is so adamant that this information not be released. I've read it. I don't think it's going to change anyone's mind. But I've seen nothing in it that is going to jeopardize the national security interests of this country.
Last thing quickly, Mr. Chairman, do you think Attorney General Sessions keeps his job? The president continues talking about the Attorney General the other day, telling the Hill, I don't have an Attorney General.
Brett, I think we're at the point of irreconcilable differences in this relationship, and I think he keeps Jeff Sessions until a sufficient number of Republican senators tell the president that someone else can be confirmed. I don't know who that person could be in this hyper-political environment. I hated that job. Of all the cabinet level jobs, that was the one that I am most interested in having the right person in. And I hate that the president's relationship with Jeff Sessions has become what it is, and I hate that it's become public. But I think he's going to be the AG until someone else can be confirmed, and I don't know who that person would be.
Is it you?
Heavens no. I'm not sure I could get the vote of my two Republican, well, Tim Scott probably, but Lindsey I think would be undecided.
Last thing, last talks, you said you hadn't seen any evidence of Russian collusion at all. Still true today?
Not good.
Yeah, Brett, the only thing is Adam Schiff in March of 2017 saying he had evidence that was more than circumstantial but not direct. And oh, by the way, there is no such thing. But if you can lay aside Adam Schiff, the wannabe senator from California, no one has presented any evidence, and the best way for that to be proven is to release all the transcripts of all the witness interviews we did during 2017 down at House Intel. All of them. Jared Kushner, Donald Trump Jr., Susan Rice, Samantha Powell. Release all of them because I asked everybody to give me all the evidence you have of collusion, coordination, conspiracy, regardless of whether or not you even believed it. Every bit of evidence you have. No one had anything. So there is no evidence of collusion, which is why the Democrats have pivoted to obstruction of justice.
Mr. Chairman, as always, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Brett.
Big day on Wall Street today. The Dow and the S&P 500 finished at record closes. The industrial average surged 251 points today. The S&P 500 jumped 23. The NASDAQ finished ahead 78. Let's get some analysis of that. What happened, where the markets possibly are going. Fox Business Network's Liz Clayman joins us from New York. Good evening, Liz. Why all the optimism out there on the street?
How about that? It's just flowing down Wall Street. You know, Wall Street and investors pretty much, Brett, woke up today and decided today was going to be a day of no fear. No fear of trade wars or skirmishes. No fear the consumer might get frightened and stop spending. And even in the short term, the Dow topped off the third day in a row of gains. Long term, we're in the midst of a 9-year-long bull market rally. But let me give you the view from 30,000 feet. The economy looks healthy. We got more proof today. A regional indicator of manufacturing jumped. Lots of new orders. This is in the Philadelphia area. And the number we want to see fall actually did fall. Weekly jobless claims, which in essence measure the number of folks on the unemployment benefits line, that hit a 49-year low. And as for all of this boosting stocks, the corporate and individual tax cuts are getting some credit here. People have money in their pockets, and as they spend, company profits rise, and in turn, the stocks spike.
You know, the president says how many record closes, that probably 100 since he's been in office, but this is kind of a sugar high. Any dangers to the bull market, like the trade war with China? What's the feeling there?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the trade war, Brett, we're in it right now. That's definitely a war with China. Is it going to be a protracted one? Well, with China, it could very well stretch out. And what does that mean? Well, President Trump is looking at China like a dog with a bone. He is adamant that China start playing fair and stop ripping off U.S. companies, intellectual property, and start acting like the economic power that it is. The perception in D.C. is that China needs to step up and play by the global trade world. So if this is going to be a trade war, now's the time. However, if it begins to make materials that U.S. companies import from China to make their own goods here in the United States markedly more expensive, that may then translate to higher prices for customers, maybe lost sales, and then it's sort of a domino effect. You get job layoffs. We're not quite seeing anything like that yet. And the sentiment is that the best time to do it is when the economy is flexing major muscle, and we have that now, Brett.
All right, Liz, as always, thank you. 4 illegal immigrants are among 8 people killed in a head-on crash on the Arizona highway. It happened late yesterday in a rural part of the state, more than 120 miles north of the Mexico border. The Arizona Department of Public Safety not saying whether an SUV involved in that collision was part of a smuggling operation or may have connected to a government immigration facility in nearby Florence. Well, the Trump administration has lost track of nearly 1,500 illegal immigrant children who were taken into custody at the border. HHS officials say it's not as it sounds. This comes as the surge of families trying to enter the country. National correspondent